The purpose for this video is to finally step up to the plate and speak my truth regarding the reasons as to why I'm here and how I made it here. See, everything happens for a reason, and there's a purpose for everything. No matter what you have planned for you in your life, God, the way He works, your plans will definitely be altered and deviated in ways in which that He deems necessary for the betterment of the world. And see, originally, I didn't understand that, and I didn't look at my situation as such until I began my healing journey and I went within to find myself. And once I found myself, I found Him. And in finding Him, He said I had two choices. And it didn't matter about the first choice, because I chose the second choice. And that was to finally pick up my cross and walk with Him side by side. And throughout that walk, on this journey that I've been on with Him, I got to know Him personally on an intimate level. And He's begun to help me to understand my purpose in life, yet alone the reason for my existence. See, everything happens for a reason. There's a divine purpose behind everything that man does, which is all the more reason as to why individuals should trust the process, as well as embrace divine timing. And see, for so long, I've sat back, gathering information, studying, watching, paying attention to what's been going on, all while doing so, communicating with God on what it is that I'm supposed to do with this information that I've gathered. But before I could even begin to jump into action in regards to helping others, I had to heal myself first, as well as help myself. And throughout that process, God was building me up, giving me the strength and the courage to finally put myself out there and tell my story. And this isn't even the full story. This is just a testimony to it. This is the moment that caused the great awakening for me to begin my journey. And the time has finally come for me to share some of that with the world. Now, before I get into any of this, I'm going to say that I take full responsibility and accountability for my actions, the role that I played, as well as what I let happen within my life. So, in no way, shape, or form am I looking for or do I want any type of sympathy. In no way, shape, or form. Because I don't want it and I don't need it at all. But I will say the reason for me speaking my truth is to help enlighten and inspire others to know that they are not alone and they don't have to live in fear. That you can speak up, that you have a voice, that you are seen, heard, and felt. That I am here for you, and that man upstairs is here for you too. Whether you believe it or not. He is real. He hears you. He sees you. And he feels you. So, my story or my testimony began January 11th, 2021. I was in college at the time. I had just had my daughter the previous year before. So she was 1, almost 2. Once I had my daughter, I realized that my life was no longer all about me. And I had to figure out a way to provide not only for me, but for the mother of my child, as well as her son that she had within her marriage that she was in, but claimed to have gotten a divorce from. While I was in college, right before Christmas break, the mother of my child had a death in the family, being her auntie, and she kept on asking me, as well as her family, would I bring her up to the city of Chicago for the funeral. Now, I hadn't been to a funeral in who knows how long. My grandmother, she passed in 2009, and I didn't get the opportunity to go to her funeral, yet alone say my goodbyes to her, because at that point in time, I was in college then. It was my freshman year, fresh out of high school, but it was my freshman year in college, and it was around the same time frame in December when my grandmother passed. And for that December break, I spent my entire time working 3 jobs so my mom and the rest of my family could go back home to bury my grandmother, leaving me being the most responsible one of my mother's kids to stay at home and try and keep things afloat for her while she was gone, which I didn't mind doing that for her, but it caused a lot of pain and trauma for me, especially at that age, not necessarily knowing how to process my feelings and emotions. So when I finally got the phone call that my grandmother passed, I had to deal with that all by myself while still trying to maintain, and then having to turn around and go back to school and pick up where I left off like nothing ever happened. So when the mother of my child asked me to take her back home to this funeral, it began to bring up trauma for me because I didn't get to go and tell my grandmother goodbye before she left this earth. And I kept on asking them, are you sure you want me to go? Are you sure you want me to go? You know the circumstances of my situation. I haven't been to a funeral in who knows how long. And she kept on saying, yeah. And her family kept on asking. Her dad and them kept on asking. Her mom and them kept on asking, is he going to bring you? Is he going to bring you? Is he going to bring you? And I didn't pay too much mind to it at the time because all I could think to myself was, I don't want you on the road traveling 8+ hours with that current mind state with my child and your child, 2 children on the road, driving any length of distance to go to a funeral. So I agreed, and I took her up there. Me, her, and my 2 children. Now, all I know is her immediate family: mom, dad, brothers, and sisters, a handful of cousins. We go up there. Of course, I got protection on me because I'm traveling to another city and state with my children. This is my family. Me being a man, I have to protect them at all costs. We go up there. Within a matter of 24 hours, two 11-year-old boys at separate times on separate blocks within Chicago were killed. Drive-by shootings. Both of them was 11 years old. And all I could think of is, man, is this really the place that I'm about to get ready to move my family to once I get done with school? Because the mother of my child is homesick and is missing her family. But because I want to make you happy and I love you and I want to keep my family together, yes, I'll do it. But I just know that I have to be vigilant and on my P's and Q's when it comes to protecting my family. So, within the next day or two, I think it was, we ended up going to the funeral. Funeral was a funeral, no issues whatsoever. Afterwards, go do the burial. After that, go to the celebration of life. From that point on, that's when things started to get ugly and the true colors began to show. From 5 o'clock that afternoon all the way up into 2 o'clock that morning, their entire family was sitting back, getting drunk as hell, as well as smoking. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I wasn't drinking with them and that I wasn't smoking with them. I engaged because I didn't want to feel left out. They made me feel as if I was a part of the family, which made me feel good because the type of relationship that I have with my family, it didn't feel like this that I felt with them at that point in time. So we was getting lit. They introducing me to all of the family, all of the individuals who's there. And it made me feel real good, you know, because I hadn't even met all these different individuals within my family. But at some point in time, the place where we was holding this function at, we had to shut it down and go somewhere. And so everybody decided to go to the mother of my child's dad's house. We all hop in the car, stop at whatever liquor stores we needed to, and go to her father's house over 30, 40 people in this 4-bedroom house with 2 living rooms. Mind you, COVID was definitely still relevant because it hadn't even been a year just yet. So, about this time, it's about 10, 11 o'clock at night, and we getting drunk until about 2 o'clock in the morning. I leave and I ride with one of the brother in laws to the other brother in law's restaurant to get some food for everybody. I passed out on the way back, but I woke up, go in the house. Me and my baby mother end up having some words because I asked her to watch my drink for me while I was gone. But she was too busy intermingling with some guys that she claimed to be her cousins. Or at least that's what they was introduced to me as. I got upset. Said, all right, you know what? I ain't even gonna trip off of it because I'm out of my element. I'm not in my zone. I got me and my kids. So I go downstairs and I go to sleep. For some reason, she comes downstairs and starts to mess with me, dressing it up as if she was coming to check up on me. And from there, we get into another argument again. Now we're upstairs. I'm like, you know what? We finna leave. She's, no, I'm not going nowhere. Okay. So I pack up all of my stuff and my kids' stuff and throw it in the car. But then I had to think about it. I've been drinking, so I know I can't put my baby in the car. Neither one of these kids. In the process, I have everything in the car outside of my bag that contains my weapon in it. I can't find it in this house full of people. So I'm asking her, where is my weapon at? I can't find it throughout the house. I can't find it in my vehicle. Somehow, she walks outside and magically appears with my bag that contains my weapon. And instead of her just handing it to me when she came in the house, she commenced to show her true colors. And she smacked me in the face with this bag that contained my weapon. And all I could think of was the gun could have went off, hit one of these children, or hit anybody in this house. And me being by myself, I would have been to blame because it would have been their word against mine. Now, throughout having that thought process, just that quick, in that short period of time, I literally tried to get to her to choke her out in front of her entire family because she ain't never put her hands on me at all, behind closed doors, yet alone in front of other individuals. So, because we in front of your family, you feel the need to show out because you know that they wasn't going to let me put my hands on you and hurt you. And I tried to get to her, and they all jumped on me, but I ain't back down. But in the same sense, I had to remember that my kids was there watching. Her son was old enough to comprehend some of the things that was going on, and he started crying for me, and that sobered me up really quick. And so now I'm outside. My baby mother come outside with my daughter in her hands with no jacket on. Her father goes upstairs to get his gun and put his jacket on and come outside. Now, he was sitting there having a sensible conversation with me at first, telling me how Lil Man, my son at the time, how he was screaming and calling for me. I want my daddy. I want my daddy. And he literally said, he's in there crying for you, dude. Why is you acting like this? And I regret my response back to him whenever her dad said that to me. My response was, where's his real dad at? I ain't his daddy. And I've regretted that. Ever since I said those words, I've regretted the hell out of that. But even in saying those words, I was saying it out of anger. Though it was a true statement, I was saying it out of anger because of the situation at the time. And my baby mother was standing there trying to talk to me, arguing with me, telling me how she ain't going nowhere, she's staying there, and the kids ain't going nowhere or nothing like that. And one of the guys who she introduced me to as her cousin, quote unquote, comes up and puts his jacket on her because she don't have a jacket on. My first reaction, I snatched this jacket off of her and I threw it on the ground. And I said to him, as well as her, she knew what she was doing when she came outside with no jacket on. If she was cold, she would have put one on before coming outside. As a man, ain't no other dude finna come and put no jacket on another man's female, yet alone my female. You got the wrong one. Buddy ain't say nothing. He picked up his jacket and he stepped back, but he stood there. That's when her father stepped up and said, we don't want you here. You need to leave right now. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. We all drunk. My baby mother knew that I didn't have no funds at the time because I was waiting for a day or two to come until my payday so I could have some money. So at that point in time, I didn't have no money to get me a hotel room or nothing. And not once did she fight for me and tell her dad, no, he's not going nowhere, he's not leaving. Nor did she say, okay, well, if he has to leave, then we gonna leave. Not once did she do either of the two. And once I realized that she didn't have my back the way that I thought she should, that told me a lot about her and her character. So I got in my truck and I left. And I got out of that town as fast as I could with whatever gas that I had in my vehicle because I knew I didn't have no money. And by the grace of God, I was able to make it a few cities away, pulled over at a gas station, no, a hotel, and I went to sleep in the parking lot until I sobered up. And once I sobered up that morning, I drove the rest of the way home because by the grace of God, He blessed me with a direct deposit from my check coming a day early. So I was able to gas up and drive all the way home. Not once did I get a phone call or a text message from the mother of my child, but she did text me at 10 o'clock the next day asking me to bring the kids back their clothes and stuff. I was more than halfway home. She didn't text me or call me to check up on me, see if I was all right, if I was safe or anything. But she called my sister that night, right when I left, to explain her side of the story. And from there, my sister called my mother, and my mother tried to get in contact with me. And even then, I hadn't reached out and told my family or nothing like that because I didn't feel there was a need to. I didn't feel there was a need for me to explain any of the above. So, as I'm driving, I get in contact with a lawyer because from that moment, God woke me up and He blessed me at that point in time. He awakened me to the powers that I had within myself. And that was the gift of foresight. And it was something that I've always had within a child, but I never really looked at it that way or understood it. But He awakened me to the fact that I have the gift of foresight. And from there, I knew what was coming. So I called a lawyer and I initiated the child custody process because I knew that once the mother of my child made it back home, that she was going to pack up all of her stuff and take my child from me because she wanted an out and she needed a reason to justify her actions as far as taking my child from me and her moving back home. And I explained the entire situation to my lawyer. She portrayed herself as an understanding individual, a compassionate individual. She even went as far as making it seem as if she believed me, that she was going to fight for me, and that she could tell that I was a kind-hearted, genuine individual. And she didn't see me being the type of person to do any of the above, knowing that I'm in another city with just my kids. She wore a mask and she played that role. I'm talking about she played that role and acted her ass off to the T from start to finish. From start to finish. And just like I said, the gift of foresight, events started playing out exactly the way that I knew it would. As soon as my baby mother got served, she had 30 days to respond. And within that response, she already started and initiated the process of moving back to Chicago to join the Chicago Police Department. And my lawyer's response to me was that the judge would not make her stay. He would grant her the opportunity to leave the state because she is going to try to be a part of the police force. And she already initiated the process. That was her response. Instead of her saying, we're going to fight, that was her response. So from there, I utilized every single weekend of spending time with my children, both of them, because there was nothing that I could potentially do to keep them there with me, because this lady did not want to fight for me. And I didn't want to keep the baby mother from following her dreams. So I didn't fight it. I said, okay, this is what you feel the judge is going to say. All right, cool. I'm not going to keep you from chasing your dreams. You want to be a part of the police department? Okay, I'll let you do that. I'm not going to stand in your way. But before she left, she had been attempting to keep her son away from me because he was old enough to tell me what was going on when I wasn't around, and she didn't want me to find out. So she started keeping him away from me, which is cool. I really didn't care. I just wanted to co-parent. I wanted to talk. I wanted to work things out because we had children that was watching everything that was going on. And I understood that. I saw the bigger picture as soon as the situation began to transpire when we was up in Chicago. So I had to go about the situation in ways of which that would benefit him, Lil Man, for the future, because the way this world works, we constantly continue to go in repetitive cycles. And I knew that at some point in time, he was going to be in my shoes in that same situation, dealing with a woman. And I knew that he would go back to think, well, how did my dad or stepdad handle that situation whenever it transpired with him and my mom? So I had to go about handling the situation in a positive way for the sake of him and my daughter. versus the way that I really wanted to, deep within my heart. But I understood that it wasn't about me. So I wasn't allowed the opportunity to have a birthday with my child and them at the house like we had done the previous year before. I wasn't allowed at their house anymore, period. I had to pick my child up from Come and Go or Walmart, somewhere where there were cameras, because I knew the type of woman that I was dealing with. And I didn't need no more lies to be spread about me. Luckily, I was allotted the opportunity by the grace of God to be able to take my daughter to the one and only father daughter dance that was available at the time before her taking my child to another state, way before our court case had even begun to even gain any traction. I enjoyed my time with my daughter at the daddy daughter dance. We got so many photos and videos. Man, that's probably the second greatest memory that I have with my daughter outside of her birth. And that really meant something to me. And after the daddy daughter dance, her son, he felt some type of way. And he kept on asking for a father son day. And I made that little boy a promise that I would give him that. I would give him that before he left. And right after that moment, right after I said that, she began to keep him away from me, preventing me from coming through on my promise. And even still, all the way up until now, she still keeps him away from me, which is fine. That's fine because as the court proceedings progressed, she went to court as far as the pre-trial and let it be known that I have no legal rights to her son after being in this little boy's life from the time he was 2 years old until he was 7 for 5 whole years. 5 years. I'm the only father that little boy knows because his dad was absent, didn't do nothing for him, didn't come and see him at all throughout the entire time that me and her was together. Barely called, FaceTime, anything. I'm talking about throughout the entire time that dude probably only called twice. So I stepped up to the plate and tried to be that man, that father figure that he needed. And in doing so, in the end, it was a slap in the face to hear that I have no legal rights to him. whenever she went to court. I said, okay, I'll still be here for you if you want me to. I still ask to speak to him whenever I'm on the phone with my daughter, still give him birthday gifts and Christmas gifts. I never left him out because at one point in time in my life as a child growing up, I was that little boy. Whenever my father and stepdads left my mother, that was the end of our relationships. Period. No calls, no texts, nothing. When it was done, it was done. That was that. So I knew the impact that it would have on him by me cutting him off and abandoning him. And I didn't want him to feel that. So I still, till this day, when I speak to my daughter, I tell him I love him, that I miss him, give him birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, even if it's just one, because I know that me not necessarily being his biological father, and that once me and the mother splits, I know that at some point in time, you're going to get in a relationship and start dating someone else, talking to someone else, yet alone get married. And I don't want to interfere with your relationship and cause any problems. So I took a step back in regards to him, but I still remain 100% present for my daughter. And from there, that's when the mother of my child moved and she began to portray that she has the power and that she is in control by not letting me speak to my child, going about saying things of, oh, you'll see her and speak to her whenever she's available. This little girl's only 2 years old. What do you mean available? What type of availability or schedule is she on? She ain't even in school yet. So I said, okay, I'll let that be. And I relayed everything that was going on to my lawyer. And she played that role, making it seem as if she really cared and that she was going to fight for me. Mind you, I'm in school still at the time, paying my own college tuition out of my pocket, paying for my own apartment, my own car note, my own bills, and child support as well. So I'm a full-time student and I'm working 2 jobs just to survive. And I relayed all of this to my lawyer, all of it, in person and through emails. So when school was over, I finally graduated. I tried to get me an apartment, but I didn't have the funds to be able to acquire one, causing me to be homeless. I graduated May of 2023. My lease was up at the end of June. It was either June or July of 2023. Once my lease was up, that's when I became homeless. And still homeless till this day. We'll get back to that in a minute. By the grace of God, He blessed me with the job that I had wanted whenever I was in school, what I was going to school for. This company came to my school and talked to us. And I talked to God for 6 months straight. That's the job that I want. That's the job that I want. To be able to travel, to help people, and to be a part of something bigger than myself. And He blessed me with that job soon after I graduated. And I was truly thankful, grateful, and blessed. Following that, my job allowed me to be able to travel a lot sooner than a lot of the other individuals who came through the door. And that actually helped me out because I knew I was struggling and I was homeless. So not only did it provide me with extra money to attempt to try and catch up on some bills, take some stress off of my plate, but it also allotted me the opportunity to have a roof over my head for that duration of time whenever I was out on the road on those jobs. They paid for us hotel rooms. And so from that moment, even all the way up until now, it's really the only time that I actually ever have a roof over my head. And I'm grateful for that. And a week, 2 weeks before, no, a week before, I was allotted the opportunity to go overseas for my job. It was September 11th, so it was 2 weeks before, if not three. September 11th. They asked me if I wanted to go. And I knew I'd never get this opportunity again. But I also knew that my court date was coming up on September 28th. I reached out to my lawyer through phone calls as well as emails, letting her know, hey, I got the job that I wanted. They're offering me the opportunity to go overseas. You know my current living situations, the circumstances, you know all of the above. I've given it all to you in writing, emails and all, check stubs and all. I continued to try and contact this woman all the way up until the day for me to leave and go on this road job. Not once did this woman respond back through phone call nor email. Causing me to miss my trial for my child. Now, this woman said that we was going to meet a week before my trial so we could talk about strategy. Like I said, I contacted this woman on the 11th of September. This is a letter, a note that she wrote me the last time that I was in her office. You can read it yourself. You can read it yourself. trial date, the time, we will meet prior to, a week prior. You see it for yourself. Boom. And if you think I'm capping, boom. This is her handwriting. This is her handwriting, along with her cell phone number. That woman didn't respond back to me at all, even after the trial. I made it back. I was blowing her phone up, blowing her phone up, blowing her phone up. Matter of fact, I lied. I'm sorry. It wasn't to go overseas. It was to go on the East Coast. It was to go on the East Coast to a city and state I'd never been to. But that wasn't even the reason as to why I went. It was because I knew I needed the money as well as a roof over my head. But that's besides the point. I still contacted this woman all the way up until my court date and even after the court date. Calls and emails. Not once has this woman responded back to me. Not once. My trial was September 28th. I've called and emailed this woman weeks on weeks on weeks until I said, you know what, forget it. I'm done contacting you. I contacted the courts. They told me the trial had already went through. I need to get in contact with my lawyer. And I told them she's not responding to my calls or texts. The circuit clerk that I was on the phone with said, well, I don't know why, she was just here in court today. The woman stopped showing up at her office. She completely went ghost. Even till this day, she has not responded to none of my phone calls or emails because she felt as if she received her payment and she did her job, but yet she didn't do her job in regards to fighting for me because she was uncomfortable fighting for me, knowing that I was in the right and that I was speaking the truth in regards to everything that was transpiring between me and the mother of my child, because I had evidence that I had given to her. Therefore, when she went to court, she did nothing on my behalf, considering that I was not there. She let the mother of my child slander my name, my character, yet alone who I am as a human being. On top of that, the judge, the court system, they was no better. They let it happen. They bought into everything the mother of my child said. And they gave the mother of my child full custody of my child. And then gave me a ridiculous amount of child support, going off of a job that I hadn't worked at for over 6 months. And my lawyer knew that because I told her. She knew this. She knew all of the above. So when I got my court papers after the new year, whenever I got my child for the first time in a matter of 2 years since the mother of my child took her to another state, when I read the judgment, I was in complete disbelief. I was in awe. But then again, I wasn't, because I knew the type of person that I was dealing with. And from there, I enjoyed my time with my child. And after that, I had to completely detach and let go and call back my power and remove myself from their life because I can no longer allow myself to be used and abused by narcissists. I couldn't, in no way, shape, or form. And so when the mother of my child reached out to me at the beginning of this month, I think it was February 2nd, asking me, did I want to get my daughter for her spring break at the end of March for a week, saying that she's reaching out in advance so she could make plans accordingly because my daughter's birthday is still within that same week of me, attempting to get her. I was in complete disbelief because that previous year before, that same time, I had reached out to her attempting to try and get my child for her spring break. And she said no. She would not allow me that. But because now she has court papers saying that she has sole custody, full custody, and the court papers saying that, oh, they was gonna be monitoring if I utilize my visitation rights, she decided that, oh, now I'll be civil with him. So I had to turn her down and tell her, no, I'm okay. I'm going to fall back and I'll let go and leave it to God because your actions towards me has shown and proved that you do not want me in my child's life based off of your actions towards me. But know this, these were also my exact words within what I just said. You know how I feel about that little girl. You know how I feel about my child, my one and only child. If anything happens to her outside of natural causes, and I mean anything, you and everyone involved will be dealt with accordingly. Play with me and find out. My exact words. I have not received a response back from her since, which is cool. And I'm letting this be known because I want it to be I want it to be heard from the horse's mouth versus it coming from someone else. Because I mean what I say and I stand behind what I say when it comes to my child. Simple as that. And ain't nobody gonna be able to stop me. Period. That little girl is my world, my heart, and my soul. If anything happens to her while she is in somebody else's custody, boy, only God knows what I'm gonna do. And that's being 100. And I have every right to say and feel that because I'm her father. And I stand behind that. So I haven't spoken to them, yet alone heard from them, which I don't need to, because my fight, my anger, none of that really is with her, honestly. It's really with the court systems, the justice systems, who sit here and act as if they have the best intentions for children in regards to these situations. Not once throughout my child's entire existence have I not been in her life, nor provided for her, until this situation came about and they allowed the mother of my child to take my child to another state. Not once. And I was trying so hard. I was struggling, working myself to the bone, trying to, pay my bills, stay afloat, and catch up on child support, allowing myself to remain homeless because I was trying to do the right thing. Then I realized I'm not finna continue to suffer and struggle and allow individuals to take from me without the same thing being reciprocated back. Who do I look like? Who you think I am? God deemed me worthy and deserving to be a father, to be in my child's life, to have a relationship with my child 24/7, not at a specific time whenever somebody else deems it necessary. That ain't how it works. Yet alone, I'm not about to pay to be in my child's life when I want to be in my child's life, period. That will not happen at all. At all. In no way, shape, or form will that happen, nor will I allow it to happen. So I stopped paying child support. I took my energy back. I took my power back. Waiting for the court systems to attempt to put a warrant out for my arrest to come try and find me and get me. You don't have to put a warrant out for my arrest. You don't have to come and find me and look for me. All you have to do is call me. My number is 318-787-4064. Whenever you are ready for me, just call me. I will gladly come to you and we could set all of this straight. And you will have no choice but to make this right because, like I said, I have proof in regards to everything. And you will see the injustice that has played in regards to this situation. Period. So I'm sitting back waiting for the day. And the court systems is so crooked, they had the audacity to put in the judgment, I'm not allowed to speak about the case. Who died? Okay. It sounds good. Here I am speaking about it. You can't tell me what I can and can't do in regards to my speech. That's how you know that they are crooked. But it's okay, because I'm going to expose them for the crooked bastards that they are. Excuse my French, but I'm just being honest. Now, like I said, throughout any of this video and this situation, am I looking for any type of sympathy? or anything like that. I'm definitely not looking for any type of sympathy in no way, shape, or form. If anything, I'm looking for a helping hand. I'm hoping that this video reaches the right person, the right lawyer, the right individual that's willing to reach out and look into my situation and open up an investigation so that we can bring about some type of change. Because this is not just in no way, shape, or form when it comes to our quote unquote justice system. I'm praying and hoping that it reaches the right individual that's more than willing to step up to the plate and come and help me in my pursuit to level the playing field and make matters right and bring about equality, not only for me and my child, but for you and your child. Because I know the impact that it has on a kid growing up not being able to have that relationship and bond with both parents. I understand that and understand that. And I can no longer sit back and be idle and remain quiet and let situations like this continue to transpire, because all it's doing is us going in repetitive cycles, getting us nowhere, leading our young women and young males in prison, in the grave, yet alone on OnlyFans and becoming porn stars. I don't want that for my child in no way, shape, or form. Nor do I want that for your child. I don't want them growing up feeling oppressed, yet alone growing up inheriting trauma and pain when they don't have to. That's the reason for this video. That's the reason for my platform. Children shouldn't have to endure what they don't need to endure if we can go about making a change for them right now, today, in this age, before they end up getting older and going through the same situations that we ended up going through, and all we sit back and do is give them some advice that really isn't going to help them in their day and age, because the times have changed. We have to stop trying to conform, yet alone adapt to the old rules as well as the old times in this new day and age. If anything, those rules and regulations and all of the above needs to adapt to us in this day and age. Because if, in all honesty, it's not benefiting no one in no way, shape, or form. It's not. It's not a part of the solution at all. It's not aiding in solving anything, nor making anything better. If anything, it's making matters worse. And I refuse to just give up and give in, yet alone let my child feel as if I don't love her and that I don't want to be in her life when I clearly do. And it honestly baffles me, the fact that, oh, there's so many men out here on this earth that claim to be men that have not stepped up to the plate and attempted to stand up and speak out and make a change in regards to this matter for their children. My situation had such a profound effect on me. All it took was for me to have one kid, one time, one situation, for me to say, oh no, enough is enough. I'm not doing that. Oh no. No. I'm going to create some type of change. But it's also helped me in understanding my father a little bit. It's aided in me being able to forgive him for not being in my life. Because now that I'm in his shoes, I understand what he was going through, the feelings that he may have had. His thought process is all of the above. I feel you and I forgive you. I truly do. And I'm sorry for holding on to that hurt, that anger, that aggression towards you for so long, that resentment. I'm so sorry. And I hope that you can forgive me. But you being a man, you should have fought for me. You should have at least tried to have a relationship with me whenever I got old enough. Versus telling me, what, 3, 4 years ago, the last thing you said to me was, I can't love what I didn't have. And when you said that to me, as a man, yes, that did hurt. That did hurt. That did hurt. But that also made me realize that I'd never say those words to my child, yet alone make her feel that way. In no way, shape, or form, which is why I'm doing this right here. I'd never let her feel as if I don't love her or care for her or don't want to be in her life, whether I had the opportunity to or not. No matter if I was hurt or not, never in my life will I do that. See, my situation had such a profound effect on me. For a minute there, I almost shut myself off from love because I felt as if my daughter couldn't get and or receive my love, then nobody else can get and or receive my love. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let the enemy win because I have so much love within my mind, body, heart, soul, and spirit that it needs to be shared with the world. So I'm not cutting myself off. I'm not letting the enemy win in no way, shape, or form. My situation had such a profound effect on me that I can't see myself being out here having multiple kids with multiple different women only to put them through the same situation or scenario, because I never intended to bring any child on this earth without giving them a two-parent household. Never had no intentions of doing that. But no matter what my intentions are or my plans are, God's intentions, his plans were different in regards to my life. Hence the reason I say that he works in mysterious ways. Hence the reason I say that there's a reason behind everything. There's a purpose for everything. So again, I hope this message, this video, reaches the right individual that's willing to reach out and to help me within my pursuit to make a change for the betterment of the children as well as the world. And I also hope that this inspires other individuals who have been in this same situation and endured these same traumas and pain. I hope this inspires you to, you know, step up to the plate and use your voice to be seen and be heard and understand that you are not alone in no way, shape, or form. You no longer have to live in fear. Who cares what anybody else has to say? Because at the end of the day, the only person whose judgment matters is that man upstairs. That's it. That's it. Who cares what anybody else has to say? So I hope that this has really helped somebody out there, as well as it helped me to finally be able to speak on it and get it off of my chest, because I can't hold the pain in anymore, any longer. It does me no justice. It does me no good to keep it to myself, in all honesty. So, if anybody wants to reach out to me, I said my number earlier, but don't call my phone playing games. Please don't. Please don't, because that was not for you. But I will put my email at the bottom of this video, and you can reach out and talk to me about any and everything, and know that I would keep any and everything in confidence between me and you. Simple as that. Because I am here for you, for the people, working for that man upstairs in service to the world. This is my divine path, what I'm passionate about, and what I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing in regards to working for that man upstairs. I truly am, because I am the one and only Torrin Moore, and I am divinely one of a kind. Love and light. Stay blessed.